Well, it has to be a starting point. Yeah, it has to be a starting point. So that's totally so the fun is always
Many women often confront corruption, discriminatory practices and regulations and laws, the lack of inheritance or property rights. Sometimes you are confronted with harassment or dismissive statements. So hopefully by coming together, by growing your skills, by taking energy and example from each other, you and others like you, others who will benefit from you, can help to overcome these barriers. Now, access to finance, I think it is what I hear over the world, the greatest challenge to women, not just in this region, in my country, everywhere. And we know from what we have heard, we know from the example of President Otunbayeva, that microcredit has lifted up millions and millions of the poorest women all over the world and enabled them to support their families and pay back their loans at almost 100% repayment rates.
The challenges that Central Asians face, from terrorism to narcotics, health, and water, require greater coordination among the governments and the civil societies in this region. Likewise, the economies of each country will, we believe, grow stronger by establishing linkages between them, which will help spur trade, investment, competition, and innovation. And the region will truly reach its full potential with unfettered participation by all citizens, especially women. All the landlocked countries in Central Asia recognize the strategic benefit of access to South Asian markets and ports. We can build on that interest to expand the Afghanistan-Pakistan Transit Trade Agreement to Afghanistan's northern neighbors and south to India. But we should not stop there. By joining the World Trade Organization, Central Asian nations can reduce barriers to all trade, not just transit trade. Women's economic participation will be central to the success of all of these plans. For one thing, if you're thinking only of linking male-dominated businesses and governments to each other, you ignore half of the entire region, the women. As President Obama has said, when women and girls have access to opportunity, societies are more just, economies are more likely to prosper, and governments are more likely to serve the needs of all of the people. The effort to link Central and South Asia will benefit from efforts to facilitate women's economic participation, their access to education, market-relevant job training, and leadership skills, as well as their participation in the governance process at the local and national levels. And regardless of the economic stakes, it is simply the right thing to do. We also must work together to reduce the barriers to enterprise and trade and improve access to finance to achieve these goals. Such challenges can be even greater for women. Women's business associations and advocacy networks help close the gap for women in private enterprise. Female role models and supportive male leaders can also inspire and equip women of the next generation to achieve their full potential. But that alone is not enough. Countries must prepare and train girls and women to participate equally and to compete effectively. in the marketplace and the political arena. Investing in the potential of women and girls is one of the surest ways to achieve global economic progress, political stability, and greater prosperity for women and men the world over. While I can stand here and urge progress, you are the experts who know what interventions would have the greatest and quickest impact on the region. You know what obstacles there are to starting or running a business and where the barriers to expanding a business through trade may lie. You may have faced difficulties in getting a much-needed business loan. Conferences like this one are your opportunity to build relationships and establish a supportive network with other experts across the region, as well as those from the international community. Look around you at all of your fellow participants. This is an extensive list of partner organizations. All of these people and organizations are committed to the success of your personal endeavors and to the long-term stability and economic prosperity of your nations.
I'm rolling.
Marion,
Go ahead.
can you look at me?
Your first name and your last name?
Yeah, I'm gonna get that.
You know that? Okay.
Yeah. Could you just give me your first and last name and spell it, and then also what do you do in Afghanistan? What's your program? It's very short. Okay. Look at me.
Should I start? My name is Mariam Alimi, M-A-R-I-A-M-A-L-I-M-I. I'm a photojournalist and working in this field since 2007.
Okay. And what are the problems for women mostly in Afghanistan? Is it access to education? What do you think is the biggest problem?
The biggest problem is that access to education, because mostly the girls are not allowed in most families, and culture-wise they are not letting them to go out and do the education. Because recently I am working on a documentary with a pregnant woman, and I got a story about a family that they are not allowed how to pass the house or to the yard that they have in their houses, but they are not allowed to easily pass to go to road, to go to bazaar, to go to school, to go to clinic, and such a kind of things, which is very need that for a woman, for someone to go out and do their own things. So they are not allowed, and that was a kind of story which was really depressed me at that time when I saw the two girls and I asked about education, that have you ever been to a school? Sadly, they mentioned, no, I have never been to a school. And I asked why, what is the reason that you never been to a school? She said that because maybe I never had anybody in my house to encourage me. Even my mom never asked me that if I'm interested to go for any education or not. So that's the kind of sad stories we have in our culture, that the most families are not allowing their children, or especially the daughters, to go to school and But recently, in recent years, it's a little bit changed with some people, with some families minded, that they recognize this truth, that education is very important for girls also, that they should go to school, they learn something, and they should improve their life.
Mm-hmm. So what about, and just briefly, what about why is this conference going to be helpful?
The conference has in 2 points. It is very important and it is very necessary, and it's very important. One thing is that we can make it through the Central Asia, through all the countries, the 5 countries who are here, who also we are neighbor to each other, to help and to make a network, to have a contact, and what is our strength and what is their weak, and what is our weaknesses and what is their strength. So we can learn from each other and we can do our things in a better way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So can I be a translator as well at the same time for her?
Should I do that? Yeah, if you want to translate my question.